This is Upnor Castle on the banks of the River Medway in Kent. A beautiful 16th century castle built on the orders of Elizabeth I to defend her fleet of warships anchored nearby. But it was not until almost 100 years after it was built that the castle faced one of its biggest challenges. 1667 was a year which saw the castle on the front line of an audacious invasion by the Dutch Navy. And now, 350 years later, Upnor Castle is bringing to life the fateful events of June 1667, when the woefully unprepared, unpaid and diminished British forces came under attack from formidable Dutch invaders.
Although it was an embarrassing defeat for the English, it became a momentous occasion, so it's something to be commemorated, not celebrated, but definitely commemorated.
This reenactment has been backed by the Heritage Lottery Fund.
The whole ethos behind the Heritage Lottery funded project is that people get an opportunity to learn about the local heritage and their history. Everything that we're doing this year gives people of all ages and from all areas a real chance to find out about the 350th anniversary of the Battle of Medway and understand Upnor's place in that.
For many visitors to Upnor, this is the first time they will have come to the castle.
I wasn't aware of the castle. We're members of the National Trust and we go to quite a lot of their places, but we don't come to these sort of things that often.
Really what brought me here today was I do live locally and take a pretty keen interest in local history and thought this must be seen. Didn't wish to miss it at all.
Reenactors are recreating the lives of a regiment who were stationed at the castle at the time. Alistair North plays one of the regiment's officers.
I'm representing an officer lately returned from His Majesty's garrison in Tangier. There's a lot of research goes into the costumes. We've been doing, as a society, this sort of thing for about 40 years, and in that time we have learnt a lot about what people wore, what they do on the battlefield, and be able to put that into practice with the soldiers you see before you.
The thing that reenactment brings is it brings people in and excites the history. It's when you're in school, history's very dry, it's out of a book. Yeah, and it's all about politicians and kings and queens, and it's very little about how the lives of what the lives of ordinary people were like.
We love what we do. We like going to different places. We like talking to the public and giving them a little glance as to some of the history that's gone on before.
By experiencing the past, visitors from the area can find out just how important this location was. This event is about connecting the people who live here with their local history.
Yeah, it's been marvellous to see so many families, and we've had a lot of foreign visitors, a lot of Dutch people coming in today to really get a feel for what Upnor would have been like in 1667. So it was a really lovely opportunity for people to get a sort of hands-on flavour of what it was like, not just reading about it.
Okay, what I'm doing today is I'm part of the gun crew. As you see, I'm not particularly well dressed. I'm just one of the peasants basically dragged out the field, where the guys in the posh uniforms are the ones in charge.
What we're commemorating and representing this weekend is a major part of English history, but because it was an English defeat, you will hardly see any mention of it. You know, the Dutch raid on the Medway, who has heard of that? Yet it is possibly the most disastrous episode in the history of the Royal Navy ever. And you might look at us and look at the wigs, look at the costumes and thinking, gosh, that's so far removed to what we do today. But if I were to tell you that the Dutch raid on the Medway was only possible because the English Parliament voted in budget cuts to the defence budget, and so all the ships, all the crews were paid off on half pay, all the ships were at anchor and not in use, and they were sitting ducks for the Dutch. And it was all because of parliamentary cutbacks. So, surprise, surprise, it has a lot more resonance than you might think.
Today's Living History commemoration gives visitors an insight into the lives and loves of ordinary people affected by the turbulent times of June 1667.
I
role today is I am the garrison cook, so I will be preparing the food for the soldiers and for the officers. Officers today will be having sausages or links, which they're called, cooked in red wine, and then it will be spiced with mace and cinnamon. Also having collops of beef, which is beef sirloin, which is slightly fried, then it is poached in a stock of red wine and beef stock. The soldiers' food, they have got pork and apple pottage, which is a stew, and then a vegetable pottage, which is just a mixture of vegetables cooked. They will be flavoured by herbs, but common herbs that are grown in England.
As well as authentic food, the Reenactment Society also has its very own printing press, recording events of the time.
What we're printing today is a very topical ballad. It's like a popular song. The tune is well known to people at the courts and people in the country. And it's all about a young boy who wants to make his fortune by fighting the Dutch, but his girlfriend's a bit worried. She doesn't want him to go because she thinks he's going to be killed. There's a lot of things we get from it. It's like the most obvious part is that we're sharing our knowledge and our passion with other people, but also the visitors come in and they share their knowledge with us.
The people meant to represent. What is paper made out of today, or Peter?
It's made out of wood, well done. But in those days they hadn't worked out how to do that. So they would make paper from rags. So when our clothes were worn out, the rag and bone man would come and get them, and then they'd sort of just deconstruct them, you know, just mash them, rot them, make them go back to the fibre, and then they'd be made out of paper that way.
We're really hoping that there is a legacy to this project. People in the future will be able to know more about this special occasion.
We've had a fantastic day. It's been very educational. The children have enjoyed it, and we've learnt a lot, and it's been done in a good spirit with lots of humour.
This is just one of our events that we're putting on over the next fortnight and into the summer, and we're hoping people will get a real sense of the history connected to Upnor Castle and the Medway, and how important this area is to the history of England.
The soldiers have long since left Upnor Castle, but its stories and place in history are brought into the present by the people here who breathe life into its age-old stone walls and the visitors who now share that heritage.
I think what's important about what we do and how we tackle history, I think all localities in the country have got a lot of history behind them that's often forgotten about. What we're commemorating and representing this weekend is a major part of English history.